Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Nerd Haven podcast. We're back with some more Game of Thrones, and this is the discussion and recap of season 4. John, you're 4 seasons in, which is 4 seasons more than I thought you would watch. But
Same.
how's it been going overall? Give us a quick overview before we get started.
I'm definitely very deep, and I was told that this season would be a resolution of many storylines, but I feel like it wasn't really that. It was more a contribution towards my headaches and my annoyances that I was feeling because this season truly pissed me off in many ways, but it was still
Yeah.
so good in so many other ways, So I have yet to skip any parts. I'm even watching the combat. I'm even hate watching some of the scenes and characters that I really dislike about the show because I don't want to miss out on anything. I feel like there are a few character
Yeah.
important build up moments that would make it very hard for me to keep following the show. So that kind of makes it difficult for me, but there is still a lot to love. This season was definitely had some very big highs and very big lows, and I really enjoyed the third one, and I guess not all of them can be completely amazing in every regard.
Yeah, season 3 was so damn good. I really like season 4. I don't know that I would say that it resolves a lot of things. I think what it does is that um it escalates stories a bit more, or moves them along. And I think this season is a good contribution to like getting the ball rolling to bigger things. Um
I honestly can't even
and
imagine what's coming next because a lot of stories also ended, kind of
that is true.
prematurely for me. And what the heck is even going to happen now?
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess we can go ahead and kind of start trying to go slightly chronologically, right? In episodes 1 and 2, we get a lot of setup to this wedding, and we get a lot of Joffrey and Sansa and Tyrion, and um, I think they do a good job at kind of really, really pushing how shitty of a person Joffrey is, and I think that they with good purpose, right? It's like it's just trying to make you really dislike somebody before they bite the bullet because a couple of episodes in,
They
he
really,
gone.
yeah, they really wanted to give him a proper send off. They essentially made him too hateable to stay alive, to remain alive, because
Right.
he was pushed over the edge. And I feel like it was kind of telegraphed in that regard. It was kind of obvious that he cannot continue like this. He pissed
Hmm.
off too many people. He is just begging to be killed. And we know that it's not hard to kill someone in Westeros. but
Yeah, when you really want it done.
but despite that, it was still a great payoff. I really like how it was executed. I loved the reaction of the actor, and
Yeah.
of course everyone else around him, and the fact that of course his mother was absolutely freaking furious and devastated about it. And I also kind of enjoyed the fact that we didn't know who did it, and I was speculating hard. You could see it on my Discord. I was obsessed,
Yeah.
figuring out, who did it, why they did it, and how. And yeah, it was super cool.
Yeah, and it's a point of speculation for a while, without spoiling anything. Um, you do eventually find out a bit more clearly who was behind it all, right? But it's something that kind of they allow it to just kind of seep in the back of your mind for a while, like who did this, who caused it, and for what motivation, because so many people could have had different motivations or different probable cause of why they want this guy gone. We saw, like, when this all happens, right, we see how his like cruelty with Sansa like was really kind of turned up. The way he disrespected his uncle Tyrion, like shaming him publicly or in the small council or this and that. Um, it just it was a lot. and then it really it really gives that resolution or that moment as a relief, if that's the right way to say it,
Yeah,
or like it actually makes you like celebrate it,
it was
which
a
is
proper
kind of
climax.
fucked up. Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. Like, one should not feel happy that a child died in a very gruesome and explicit death.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's what the show wants, you know? It really wants to make you uncomfortable at times.
Yeah, yeah. And I actually really love the tension that we got from the wedding, right? Like the whole thing just felt off. And
Yeah.
and it's like it was like people were enjoying it. Like the guests were enjoying it more than like the families. Everything just seemed like it was, I don't know, put on like a toddler's birthday party or something.
Yeah, like one of those
And
sweet 16 parties, you know, where the teenager is just a complete prick of a person, and the parents are like, oh, it's our lovely daughter, you know, it's a special day. We're all sure she will grow out of that, you know, at some point. She'll be normal, please.
so let me ask you, did you have a feeling that something was going to go wrong at the wedding? Or did you think, we already had the red wedding at this point? Would they repeat any kind of similar points? Will they actually play with with our emotions? How did you feel about going into the wedding?
I knew that something would happen. Like, I didn't know, but it was very strongly implied, you know. I was hoping that things would kind of be okay and normal, and that it was just a red herring instead of a red wedding, and that
Hmm.
we would kind of see just certain animosity, you know, between the freaking
Yeah.
child and Sansa to finally be done, and they could kind of move on from that. Maybe even like the whole Tyrion and like the Lannisters being shitty to him, you know, maybe there could be some mending between those relationships, but clearly, you know, I am kind of yearning to watch a very different show, and that was never going to happen. So whenever I
Hmm.
saw the little people just kind of showcasing
No, boy.
the recent events in the most theatrical way, I was both cheering for the paycheck of those wonderful people, because those are my people, and I wish them nothing but many paychecks and happiness in their miserable lives of being short. But such is life.
Yeah, and I love that Tyrion had that moment of like, I think he says like give them 10 gold
Mhm.
each or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, which again says so much about his character in parallel to Joffrey at that moment. And and we actually see how his relationship with Sansa is, right? Like
Hmm.
the he is the best thing that could have happened to her
Oh yeah,
in King's Landing,
absolutely.
but it,
It's
it's
still
still not a
shitty.
very good thing. Yeah, it's not a good
And
situation.
that's the very last thing about the little people. I fully expected Joffrey to just start slicing them at some point. That's
Oh
what I
my
thought was going
goodness.
to happen. That he would just
Yeah.
literally murder them all. Or that he would first let them fight, you know, one another, that he would force them to have like a tournament. And then I expected that he would challenge the person who won the tournament.
Yeah, kind of like like him killing all of the other kings or whatever, the battle of the five kings. It could have been it would have been on character, to be honest.
Absolutely.
But um did you so do you have any speculation as to who did it?
I immediately thought that, well, not immediately. After putting some thought and consideration into it, I thought Varys would be involved. I thought that
Okay.
he would probably think of something with the mother of March, you know, the cool grandma that
Hmm.
is like always kind of scheming. And she also kind of implied that she would not let things to happen. She would not let her beloved daughter, you know, to marry this horrible, horrible child, to
Right.
basically let her suffer. So those two are kind of my, or used to be my biggest target when it comes to the culprit. But now I'm just kind of convinced that it was all Littlefinger, you know, and
Hmm.
he essentially made it happen. It's probably not really important, like who actually did it, who put the poison in. Could have been just a random person, but I think that he did it to kind of destabilize the situation, and or maybe even to put some stability back, because it just things couldn't really go on like that. And I think that, yeah, right now I think Littlefinger, but my heart would like it to be done by Varys and the grandma.
Yeah, because I mean, we understand that at this point, Varys is very pro Westeros, right? Like
Hmm.
he is kind of the person that is willing to do whatever it takes for the good of the realm, and it's good motivation, right? Like
Hmm.
this kid is going to be the death of us all. So yeah, it's good to speculate him, but then like Littlefinger is involved in almost every single thing
Yeah,
that happens.
it's kind of cool how they are very similar but also completely different when it comes to their motivations, right? Like Middlefinger
Yes.
wants to have kind of he wants to have the power, he has the ambition. Varys, he likes control, but I feel like he wants it to stabilize things. He wants to kind of have
Yes.
this little corner of the world where he can influence stuff, but he almost feels like a positive force in all of this. Sure, he has methods
Yeah.
that would be destructive to many people's happiness, but at the same time, I feel like he would be the one I would trust to make a difficult decision, when it comes to the well-being of a nation.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that they are very I'm not going to say polar opposites because they do a lot of similar things,
Mhm.
but they have very different mentalities and very different approaches to doing the different things. But it just kind of makes them really interesting characters. The fact that we have two people that generally function or work the same way with different approaches, and it's kind of cool to see.
It really is.
Um, let's see. I think that moment, the moment that Joffrey was kind of like being poisoned and dying, the acting there was top notch from Joffrey, from Cersei, Jamie running in to the scene and everyone being shocked. Tyrion kind of being caught there with the cup, just looking up like, what the hell just happened? It's It's a really powerful moment and a powerful scene, but I personally still don't see it as shocking as like the Red Wedding.
Yeah, definitely. The Red Wedding was much more of a surprise, even though, of course, someone like me watching the show for the first time now, would obviously be aware of the concept of Red Wedding, and I
Hmm.
will always be suspecting that something will happen during a wedding. But this, yeah, this was just a long time coming. It was as you said, a
Hmm.
relief.
Yeah, and if it wasn't done by somebody in the immediate surroundings, it would have probably been done by strangers because the people had it with Joffrey.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
It was a long road, long journey towards this moment, and I fear that before I get my payoff and before freaking Arya, hits the dirt in a very spectacular fashion in like a very violent death, and I will be very happy. It will probably take a long time before we get there. I have a feeling.
yeah, we'll see. We will see.
We can only
Then
hope, I guess.
immediately after that, we kind of have what can be seen as Tyrion's fall or down, like like his decline and some of the shifting in power here that starts occurring. Um, we get Shay's betrayal, which is rough.
How do you feel about
Uh,
that whole thing, Shay's betrayal?
I I think that it was probably done the best way that it could have been done. I It sucks because I really, really like them, like what they meant for each other. However, from the very beginning, we always saw these kind of moments of outbursts from Shay, these moments of rebellion or entitlement even at times. Even from the moment that Tyrion met her. back in the tent, and it's it doesn't surprise me that that happened because a woman scorn, you know?
To me, it
But
was the weakest part of the show that I have seen yet, because
yeah.
the show really tried its hardest to essentially showcase that this is not just a whore and a guy. This was actually like a relationship built on loyalty and trust. And
Mhm.
even though Shay had numerous chances to leave, to have a better life, to receive a reward, a diamonds, and a life of a essentially noble, just because she was this good of a friend to Tyrion when he needed her the most, she refused all of that just to essentially betray him for no reason and to then sleep with Tywin after knowing exactly what kind of a monster he is, to prove a point of the fact that horse can just never be trusted in Westeros. Is that the
Yeah.
message the show wants to portray? That, oh, they are women, they let you pay to have sex with them, therefore they cannot be trusted and they do everything for business, and love is essentially a completely foreign concept to them. And yep, just good on you, we totally fooled you, haha. Well, I just find it bad writing, and I really disliked it, because I would much rather if things were a bit more consistent in this regard, and if she just I wouldn't mind if they forced her to cooperate. I wouldn't mind if they did it against her will and she essentially had to preserve her life. And if she then admitted to Tyrion,
Yeah.
and if he was like, "It's okay, Shay, I understand. I just want you to be safe. Just tell them what they want to hear." I would be totally fine with that. But like, nah. And the way things ended, I didn't like it at all.
Yeah. So like for me personally, I like that it was her trying to hurt him because she was hurt. The big thing that I didn't like though was the whole like her sleeping with Tywin thing. Like that I felt was completely unnecessary. I think the point was already made.
Yep.
I think it already felt shitty. Like it felt shitty that he was a shitty father. It felt shitty that she tried to hurt him because she was hurt or she was brokenhearted. I don't necessarily think we needed that extra level of it. Um and it does feel like something that somebody just kind of pitched at the last minute. They were
Yeah.
like, we should add that.
Let's escalate things. Oh, I have an idea.
What if?
What if?
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Um
We're done with that, and I'm kind of glad things are just moving
yeah.
forward.
So we got a couple of like really cool things right from this though. Like I think the trial was kind of awesome. I I don't think that there was ever a chance in hell he was going to get a fair trial. if we're being if we're being completely honest, I did feel that I didn't see her completely betraying him like that, but I also I was like, yeah, all right. um, and then some of the other things that came from that, I think that like that speech that Tyrion gave was awesome. His like confessions, and it was more like a rant, right? How did you feel about the kind of like the trial before we move on from it?
The trial was incredible. From the very beginning, the way it was kind of set up by the prince from the foreign lands arriving, to the moments between Jaime and Tyrion just kind of
Hmm.
in the cell, reminiscing about life, discussing about that simpleton,
Yeah.
that was killing like the bugs. The way Tyrion just was obsessed about analyzing it. That was just incredible. Like every single one of those moments was absolutely precious. The decision to essentially have the fight to the death that was kind of tied, to the whole the prince's sister, was killed by the mountain, and of course, very much in a brutal way. And yeah, the duel was super cool. It was such a cool choreography. I really enjoyed it
Yeah.
because the
Did you
difference
think
with
it was gonna come down to a trial by combat?
I did not, and I was pleasantly surprised, and I really enjoyed like the different fighting styles. Mountain,
Hmm.
freaking brutish Hulk of a man with a two-handed sword, and this agile guy, with a freaking spear. It was super cool.
It it was freaking awesome to watch, and the like how at different moments they kind of had an advantage of each other over each other, and I think Oberyn was such a cool character while he was around. I was very disappointed how
Yeah,
things ended, but it that scene right there is almost a really good depiction of how Westeros is as a whole. Um, you can't celebrate too early. You don't know what is about to happen. Like
yeah.
you take your small victories and you just keep moving forward because things change super quickly. And I think that was like a perfect representation of that.
Indeed, and you can't really be emotional too. Like it's actually a weakness in this land. I feel like it leaves
Yeah.
you vulnerable. It leaves you to open, to these emotionless psychopaths that are just going to exploit you for every single weakness that you have. And he was an amazing character, and he went out too early, unfortunately. But he was an incredible force on the show. He was so much fun to watch and to follow, and I'm not even really all that sad, that he died because he.
Because it was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was super
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. It was like one of those RP characters that, you know what, I died, but it was a cool story.
It really was. This season felt like a very RP season.
Hmm.
It's like an RP trial. You know that there will be someone who will fuck things up for you. You know
Yeah.
that uh, your destiny is essentially doomed. You are sentenced to die no matter how hard you try. So you might as well go out with a bang. I've been in those situations in RP so many times, and this definitely felt like an RP trial.
Agreed. Yeah. Did you see Jamie freeing Tyrion? Did you see that coming, and did you think it was the right move?
I was hoping for it. It's such a different or such a weird thing with Jamie. Like I was really hoping for him to be redeemed, but then he goes like in the very first episode and freaking does
Yeah.
what he did with his sister. And it's like, ugh, okay, well,
Yeah.
but
Like
then
as
he
soon as
did
he's back.
great
Yeah.
again. It's like he's
Yeah.
overcoming his missing hand and learning how to fight and being a good brother to Tyrion and actually potentially even like pushing against his beloved sister slash lover, and I guess you cannot really be like purely
It's unfortunate.
yeah, like couple character in every single way, and you kind of need to embrace the good with the bad.
Yeah, and also like there people say that people don't change. And I don't really disagree with that. I think events in life can change you, but I don't think it's a clean slate. I don't think you go from one thing and be something else entirely. I think there's always a portion of you that remains. Um, and I think we see that with Jamie because no matter what he's been through, he once he's home, he defaults back to some of the behavior that he is.
Yeah, evolution is a very slow process, and it
Hmm.
takes time, and there is a lot of remnants left behind, from the previous state of affairs, and I like it. I am kind of selfishly hoping, because I love redemption stories, and I feel like Jamie is right for that. I love how his camaraderie, with freaking Brianna is, and
Hmm.
his friendship with Tyrion. He is the only person who actually respects him and who considers him more than just a little twerp. He treats him like a
Right.
human, like a brother, and it's just very heartwarming to see.
It's a really great relationship to see on screen. And I, yeah, I mean, their story's not over and we will see them more, but it's very interesting. Jamie as a whole, I think it's a very interesting character.
Yeah, he's a great character. One of my absolute favorites.
Then like mid-season, we're getting a lot of different things when it comes to like Sansa and the Hound. I mean, Arya and the Hound. Sansa with in the Vale with her aunt um and Littlefinger. How how was all of those things working for you like by mid-season? What do you think of the Arya and Hound dynamic?
One of my favorite, absolute favorite tropes is a shitty father figure or mother figure and a daughter, and that is something that I was very much hoping for. I was hoping that they would both kind of learn from each other and they would learn to kind of be protective of each other, even though they wanted to kill each other at first. And obviously, that was never going to happen. But I had hope. I had hope that, the Hound would grow a heart after spending time, with Arya. I would hope
Mhm.
that she would save him at times from something that would happen to him. I would hope that there would be moments where he would actually kind of learn how to be good, for her. But no, that was not gonna happen. But he's a hilarious character. I love the Hound, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, I just really dislike Arya. She's my least favorite character on the show, even more than the whole Raven storyline, with the freaking disabled son of Ned Stark, Fat Boromir. And yeah, I just every single decision she makes, I'm like, my God, I hate you so much. Like so much potential, for my favorite things in life, and she chooses every single decision that I hate, that I wouldn't do. Like, oh, I can't stand her and her freaking attitude. And I am fully aware she must be like fan favorite, and that she's essentially like the main character, and she will become the main character. And plenty of enjoyers of the show will be like, "Oh yeah, Arya, she's the best. I'm gonna name myself after her." And it's like, no, I can't stand her. Oh my God, I can't stand her so much. I would. If there were scenes that I would skip from the show, it would be everything involving her. But I also want to see
Mhm.
what happens to the Hound, so I can't skip that. So
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. She's always like teamed up with somebody else, right? The I like Sans. I mean, I like Arya. Um, at least kind of more than I liked Sansa for different reasons. But at this point, I think you have to be a lot more empathetic of Sansa and the things that she has gone through. And there's not really been an really anything that has made you feel for Arya. I mean, she experienced the same loss, right? In her father, and she can't go home, and she probably feels alone. But she is in ways tougher than Sansa, so it makes it so that you don't necessarily feel as bad for her. Like she protects herself.
yeah, I guess
Um,
that's a good way to put it. I'm at the exact opposite camp because I really like Sansa. I enjoy
right.
watching her story. She to me is like a bird, with a broken wing, and
Yeah.
really want her, to finally have a happy ending. I have seen her struggles, since the very first season, and I really, really want her, to get better. But at the same time, I'm kind of tempted by the proposition of her turning heel, to just be like, I went through all this shit, but now I have power within my
Mhm.
reach, and I will avenge all those things that happened to me. I will fucking
She's
set
gonna be
their
the
houses on
Cersei
fire.
of the North.
Yeah, she can literally turn into like a Joker of Westeros, and just be a completely rampant freaking psychopath, just murdering people because no one
She would
was
be justified.
yeah, no one was nice to her, when she needed it the
Mhm.
most. Everyone's trying to exploit her because, she's a freaking daughter of Fat Boromir. I'm gonna marry her, I'm gonna inherit the North. And it's like, no one cares about her, what she wants, who she is.
She's just being
Everyone,
used left
yeah,
and right.
she is literally just a piece of jewelry that these influential men want to carry, around their freaking waist. And it's kind of disgusting. And
Yeah, it
that's
is.
unfortunately how things were, back in the day. And I am really cheering for her to either, have this moment of like blaze of glory, or to actually just find something, that makes her happy, and to like ride off to the sunset.
Yeah, but when it comes to Arya, I agree with you in the sense that I think there is a bit of wasted potential when it comes to her story. The only thing that I admire is kind of the same thing what you just said. I I like that she is a delivery system for me getting to know other characters.
Hmm.
Um, like we know that she's important. We know she's a Stark. We know she's part of all of this. But if she hadn't gotten with the Hound, we would have never gotten to know him.
Yeah.
And and I think that that's important because of how cool of a character and how cool of a backstory he has, and these interactions. And I think that that's kind of the shame when it comes to Arya is that um her story so far is very like buddy cop. Like she needs somebody with her.
I think that's a great point, and I couldn't have put it better myself. I think that as this particular device, she serves a great purpose for the show, for other characters.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, she has this main character syndrome, this plot armor, and it's
Yes.
quite obvious, you know. And I would much rather focus on those other characters she is with, like whenever she was with Tywin, you know, and whenever she was with the Hound.
Hmm.
Those were the moments where I really enjoyed her, where she really shined. But like whenever it's quite obvious, you know, that Arya must survive, Arya must be safe, Arya must go on, you know, with her journeys, and we must follow her because she is one of the most important characters of the show. I'm like, ugh.
Yep. What will happen? Um, and then so we get a little bit of the manipulation with Littlefinger and kind of like what you just alluded to in Sansa. Like she's just being used consistently and pushed from one thing to the other. Littlefinger, holy shit, that character is something else. Um, it it's hard to keep up with his motivations and hard to keep up with his game plan because in a lot of ways the audience is also playing backseat to whatever he's doing. And I think that it's really cool how some things are found out as he's doing it, but then other things are like he's already done them. We just found out after. And it's hard to keep up with, but man, it you have to stay on your toes when it comes to that guy, especially with your uh wife's death.
Yeah, he was suspiciously missing for a very long time, and I was wondering if, like, maybe he'll never show up, you know? But boy, what a fool I was, you know, when he made his glorious return. And I think the timing was perfect. I think that the show is very clever in this regard when it comes to the pacing. And that was the one thing that I criticized at the very beginning. But now that I'm used to it,
Mhm.
I'm like, this makes sense. I am glad that they focused on all these stories and kind of almost let me forget, you know, about what's going on because the time flies in Westeros. You know, things are moving,
Yes, it
and just
does.
because our point of view isn't currently focusing on this character doesn't mean that you know they're just sitting on their butts. They are
Yep,
scheming.
they're not AFK.
Oh no, 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 they're not.
But yeah, how did you feel about what happened with uh Liza Aaron and the power shift in the Vale and everything with Sansa up there?
I liked everything about it, and I really enjoyed Sansa having Littlefinger's back because she didn't have to, and he was sweating his balls off. It was great, and she did everything perfectly. So like that is basically what I hate about Arya. You know, she does everything the way I don't want to happen, and
Yeah.
this lovely redhead does everything the way I want her to do.
Yeah, I get that. So, do you trust Littlefinger at all at this point?
I trust him to get shit done. I trust him to always
Hmm.
follow his ambitions. I trust him to also choose carefully before he betrays someone and before he makes an act
Yeah.
on someone. I think that he knows how to play the game. I do think that eventually there will be a confrontation between him and Varys. I don't think that those two, even though they are very similar, even though they're polar opposites of each other, I also think that they are constantly at odds with one another, and there is essentially always a war between them and their methods. And Westeros is not big enough for both of them to exist.
Yeah, I can see that because of the fact that, yeah, you might be able to coexist for a time, but eventually, your ability to bend your morality is going to get in between both of you,
Yeah, and there can only be
and
one kingpin in
there
Westeros.
can only be one. Uh, you said something about like how Sansa kind of went along with Littlefinger there at the end. Do you think Sansa's becoming more hardened and becoming a little bit more like him, or do you think she's just adapting to survive?
I think both. I think that she recognized that her ways of being just so polite, of like rolling with the punches, I think she finally recognized that that was really leading her nowhere. People in Westeros
Hmm.
are kind of selfish pricks who will abuse you if you let
Yeah.
them. And if
Oh yeah.
she wants to actually survive and thrive, she needs to play the game. And she has the best possible teacher to do it with. I'm very excited about this pairing.
Yeah. It's a very interesting turn of events. And going back to Arya real quick, why do you think she keeps choosing violence over mercy? Do you think it's because of like what she witnessed with her father, like someone she knew to be an honorable man that like didn't deserve it, or the fact that she's kind of been seeing this from the beginning, right? Like being blamed for what happened to Joffrey, the having to let go of her wolf because of that, um, being essentially betrayed by her sister that caused the other wolf to be killed, and all of these things that she has been a part of. Do you think that that's why she's kind of coming into terms that just like violence will get you further in Westeros than mercy will?
I hate to even invest effort necessary to answer this question because I really can't stand her character. You are really pushing my buttons right now. But in the spirit of discussion and
Discussion.
this podcast, I will answer against my better judgment. And I think that this show is essentially setting her up to be like this badass freaking solitary killer, to essentially
Hmm.
be this vengeful force in Westeros that will one day start dropping bodies, of her enemies. That's why she's constantly like reminding herself, of like, who her enemies are. I think that her now leaving, to go to the assassins, if I understood the
Yeah,
ending correctly, I think that is going to be cool. I think that's going to be better than her just kind of wasting my time by
roaming.
being in Westeros where
Mhm.
things matter, where things are relevant.
Wasting my time.
I,
Yeah,
I
it's like
honest,
just go do your own thing.
yeah,
Arya.
you go there, we'll be here, and you have a good time. I actually kind of would enjoy her joining Daenerys. I think that would be an interesting pairing.
Ooh, interesting, interesting. You essentially want Arya to go play on another server.
Yeah, I want her to go fuck herself.
Oh man. And okay, so you said something that at this point you're more interested in Bran's story than you are in Arya's. So how how are you feeling? Because we've both have discussed this before, and if you're listening to this right now and you haven't listened to our other episodes, we've discussed how like Bran's storyline isn't either of our favorites. How are you feeling about it now? Because it does get a bit more into the mysticism that is Bran.
Yeah, it gets intriguing, and I feel like if there is any hope for us to actually understand, like, what the White Walkers are about, what
Hmm.
lies beyond, the north of the wall, and what are the reasons why, these powers and these ancient religions are still relevant. I feel like this is kind of a cool way to show
Yeah.
us, to give us a little peek behind the curtain, and I feel like this season it was definitely handled a bit better in terms of raising my intrigue, and I am definitely curious where things are going to go from here. Now that we are essentially at the three-eyed raven, who was, I presume, like the embodiment of this guy within the tree. I still don't understand much of it, but I presume that those answers
Hmm.
will slowly be revealed. I don't really know what that magical child who was throwing like those freaking fireballs was about. I know it was like Molotov cocktails and stuff like that, but
The
like,
children of the forest,
yeah,
was it?
yeah, and like
Yeah.
there are zombies, there are skeletons apparently. Like, what's that all
Hmm.
about?
Yeah. So I agree that it's an interesting way for you to reveal story. Bran's essentially an admin character.
Oh yeah.
um and I think that if you try to reveal all of this background or world lore in other ways, it could actually be more detrimental to the show than having it be through like this adventure with Bran. Like if somebody just, I don't know, picked up a Westeros 101 book, and it was just like, now I know everything there is to know about White Walkers. I think that would feel a little bit more forced. Um, so it is kind of an interesting way. It is interesting that there is a sense of danger that comes with all of this as well, and it it kind of puts a little bit of weight to us learning more.
Yeah.
And I kind of appreciate that, which is something that I didn't really appreciate earlier on with everything that was happening to Bran.
Definitely, definitely. It's a very organic way of kind of teaching us about these deeper mythos and things.
Hmm.
And I also feel like it is another device of the show that serves a purpose of essentially calming things down a bit. You know, when there are wars, when there are fights, when there are just political machinations that constantly keep you on your toes. This is just something where you can kind of chill, you know, where you can kind of slow things
Hmm.
down. And it's not my favorite thing still. You know, I would still kind of prefer the
I agree. Yeah.
more slice of life of Game of Thrones, you know, where we just get to follow, you know, the Hound and Arya kind of just, you know, becoming closer, talking about their past things, you know, more situations with Jaime and Tyrion in the prison, you know, more getting to know like these other characters, more Varys on the show because he's awesome. I feel like we didn't get nearly enough of him, you know, more of the grandma and like why did she marry, you know, that guy and stuff like that. So that would be my preferred way of kind of calming things down and slowing them, you know, before another fight happens.
Yeah, I think I would watch an entire show of Grandma Tyrell just being
Herself.
sneaky as shit
Yeah.
and and not giving a fuck what people have to say. Like, how did this how did she become the lady of Highgarden? But
Yeah, she's such a
anyway,
Gilmore Girls character. Like she would do
she's
amazing
great.
at the show, and I adore her. I wish I could say the same thing about the Baratheons, you know, like Stannis and the Onion Knight.
Hmm.
I feel like he constantly keeps reminding of Stannis, like how good of a king he is, how amazing of a person he is, how he's worthwhile, everything. But we've never really seen any of it. I wish there was like more emphasis put on this particular fact. All we know that he essentially is following, you know, this religion, the priestess, and don't get me wrong, the priestess is awesome. Like I changed my mind on her like 180. I am really enjoying like her approach towards everything essentially, and how kind
Hmm.
of careful she is, and the fact that they are the only ones that take the wildling situation
Threat.
seriously.
Yeah,
Yeah, and the freaking riders of Rohan arrived on Pelennor Fields and saved the day. That was a great freaking moment.
it was. It was cool. Yeah, the Baratheons for me, uh, I kind of feel the same way, right? They have their own thing going on. It's almost like they're in their own world, buying more time
Yeah, they feel so
and waiting for the.
detached, like from everything.
They feel very detached, yeah, but purposely so. I think like they're just like, we're gonna wait for the right moment and
Mhm.
do things,
And I love that
which
what
is
they did
clever.
with the bank, you know, because that just allowed us to see like a
Yes.
whole new freaking world. I feel like the world is constantly getting bigger and we get to learn about these other places. And I love that about this show so very much.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then so speaking about the world getting bigger, let's go across the sea
Yeah, to the other server.
to the other server. And how are you feeling with Daenerys's arc at this point? Like the cost of power that is happening over where she is now. Um, I think at this moment now she's kind of realizing that like ruling is harder than just conquering, than just like taking shit. Um, and there's a lot of moral dilemmas that she has to deal through. How are you feeling about the story on that's happening on that side?
Absolutely hated it. My second least
Yeah.
favorite part of the show, of the season at least, because it was so ham-fisted. It was such virtue signaling. Like, oh, you didn't know that if you capture these cities, the people inside of them could potentially rebel against you. You didn't know
Mm-hmm.
that perhaps these people that you freed from their shackles of slavery might be missing their masters and their incredibly generous hand. You didn't know that you might rob them of their purpose. You didn't know that if you have dragons, they might eat a sheep. Oh, you didn't know that these fiery flying creatures that are completely ravenous and uncontrollable can kill a child. Well, guess fucking what? How many children die in fucking Westeros every single moment that we fucking speak? Like,
Yeah.
diseases, wars. That's not her fault. She's just trying her best. Like, she could have been
Yeah.
like, well, go fuck yourself then. I'm gonna sack the city. I'm gonna claim the riches. My goal is simple. I am going to claim my throne in Westeros and you guys can go fuck yourself. That's what she should have told them. These ungrateful fucks in these freaking backwater places, in the other server. I cannot stand this. Like, it was so unnecessary. Like, do you think that we are stupid? Do you think that she's stupid? Like, she deserves so much better. She's such a cool character. I really like what she's doing, and I feel like she knows all too well to not take these things personally. She should just appoint leaders, and if they fuck up, she should just put in different leaders,
Yeah.
because you cannot be in control of every single aspect, of like, oh no, the freaking plumbing in this city is wrong. It's your fault. You shouldn't have captured our city. We had good plumbing before, and now you ruin everything, and I have diarrhea for a week. I hope you're happy. Freaking Daenerys. I hope you die. Go fuck yourself.
So I agree with some of the points that you're making. There's only really one thing that I appreciate about everything that was happening in Marine and with the Masters and stuff like that. And it's the fact that she is learning. I think up to now, she's been kind of using the same strategy over and over again, and it has been working for her. And I think it was important for her to learn and to realize that not everything is going to come as easy as it has been so far. That not everything is just going to be a desired result. And the fact that it's getting bigger, and now that it's like just a people, not just armies or like tribes that she's ruling over. This is an entire city. This is a people. It's not going to be easier than that in Westeros if you're on the Iron Throne. If you're in King's Landing, it's only going to be that much worse. Supposedly in King's Landing, there's like enough population to like be more than the entire North. So it's like, um, I think in a learning experience, I appreciated that, but there were also a lot of things that I'm like, is this really something that I would be concerned about if I was king? Um, Surely somebody else can take care of this shit.
You are absolutely right once again, and I cannot at any point just complain about anything you said. Yes, it is clear what the show is kind of trying to remind us and Daenerys of. They're trying to give her this incredibly difficult lesson that the burden of leadership, is a thing, and she does need to learn if she wants to claim Westeros. And I just wish she would have done a bit more gracefully and a bit more like,
Or organic,
yeah,
right?
organically. It just felt so
This kind of
ham-fisted.
seemed, yeah, it kind of seemed like a D&D thing, right? Where it's like, this is this is what you're overcoming this week. It's like,
Yeah.
um yeah, I get that. The time for me in like Marine um was not really my favorite,
I
but
can see that.
we we do get to see some things that are carried forward at least. But
It feels like
yeah,
busy work for her, right? She's
it
essentially just
does.
doing secondary quests because she's not quite leveled up high enough to go claim freaking
Yes.
Westeros. And I like the fact that season 3 made this much better. She needed an army, right? And she needed some kind of foothold.
Right.
And she needed ships. But right now, she kind of needs to learn lessons that leadership is difficult and that the
Yeah,
dragons are
like
difficult
if
to control.
agreed. If Daenerys, right, like if Daenerys had gotten ships from like the other people that she was with before. What the hell were the um uh what the hell was that city? Karth?
One of the many
Where
eastern cities.
yeah, when the dragons were still kids and they got dragon napped. um if she had the ability to go to Westeros back then, or once the dragons started growing, she would have immediately lost the war. Um, I don't think that even at this moment right now, she has the mentality or the strategic way to take over Westeros. Um, Especially when you see how rebellious the dragons are being. Um, that's also another lesson that she's learning. Like
Yep.
these, yeah, you think these things are your children. They're not even really pets. They have their own identity. They will do whatever the fuck they want. Um,
Yeah, they're like a fire that
and
you need to unleash on your enemies and hope that it will not burn you in the process.
mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so there's some of those things that I really like. Drogon being kind of a bit of an asshole dragon is interesting. Rebellious firstborn. um, but I don't know. It's an interesting direction. Just not my favorite stuff. But also, I'm just kind of glad that we didn't spend a lot of time over there either. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
Um,
I just wish she wouldn't fucking send, her. I can never remember his name. He's one of her advisors, the original one that was there from the very
the
beginning.
Mormont,
Couldn't even
Jorah.
tell you. Jorah, I think it's Jorah.
Hmm.
Fuck that. Oh no, he was actually working for the enemy, and he made a choice to actually join her. And now we learn that he was working for the enemy temporarily. And even though now he's been nothing but loyal, we're gonna have to send him away because he was at one point working for the enemy, like all the other fuckers you freed and are now your
Right.
best friends.
Including
God.
some of the armies that
Fucking
like you
yes!
have with you.
The
Like
dragons were literally working for the enemy.
the Unsullied literally were an army for hire.
Yes.
Like they could have been serving anyone. Anyway, but yeah.
So
Then
stupid.
later in the season, then we start getting a bit more stuff with the build up to the war on the wall, and we see kind of John stepping into leadership. There's the massive battle that happens at Castle Black, and I think one of the things I'm not entirely sure if you were happy with was Ygritte's death.
I was very happy with
Or
her then.
oh, were you okay? Okay,
Yes.
and then and that emotional like payoff, I guess. Did you expect her to die here, or how did you feel about all that happened on the wall?
I wasn't really expecting it, but I was hoping it would happen because at first I liked her ship. It was very uh, promising, but after like 10 millionth time she said, "You know nothing, Jon Snow." I was so done with her, and she just felt so one-dimensional. And I get it, she's a wildling. I wasn't expecting much,
Yeah,
but like, Jon Snow is clearly a very important character for the show, and I can understand that he kind of needs to move on, and this was like a fun little storyline for him. But yeah, there was never really much, in terms of future, and I think
right.
that she served her purpose well. And the fight for the wall is kind of what it is. I did. Of all the wildlings, I really enjoyed the chief, the main leader. I
Yeah, yeah,
thought that
yeah.
he was very well depicted, like very reasonable, very civil, and that's the one thing I always enjoy, about these savages, that they can actually have certain members who are actually more civilized than you are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you did you find yourself rooting for the wildlings or like the Night's Watch, or you were just like whatever happens happens?
It was kind of whatever happens, happens. I was not really cheering for anyone, to be honest, but I
Yeah.
was hoping that someone would actually come and help them. That was the one I was cheering for because it was clear, that it was wildlings are overstepping their boundaries. They overstepped the wall. So I was curious
Yep.
who's actually going to do anything about it.
Yeah, see, like that is essentially the responsibility of the North, kind of, but the North is not in
Decimated.
good shape right now. So it's interesting to see how that kingdom being decimated and falling has an effect on this aka neutral party, like the that's supposed to protect the realm. But
And I would absolutely love if the new angle of Stannis was to essentially just convince everyone in Westeros that he should be the rightful king because of his actions, because he's actually the only one who gives a shit about Westeros, who's protecting them, who's not a fucking inbred,
hmm
bastard who just inherited the crown. He is actually fighting for the people. He's protecting them for the wildlings. He has the army. He has the religious backing, of this freaking powerful magic user, and he lost the war, right? Or he lost the battle, and that kind of felt like he lost the war. He cannot really take over the capital, by force. So he's being clever now. He has this Iron Bank angle. He's absolutely right about that, and I really like that. He boosted the wall and provided them with the necessary help.
Yeah, agreed. It was an interesting thing for Stannis because of the fact of like whatever we just recently talked about, that we see the Baratheons being pretty passive, waiting for the right time, and this is kind of a power move, right? Like going up there to help the North, going to see what they can do, and it can be used as an argument. It definitely can, and I think it's very interesting approach.
Indeed, indeed.
So, do you have up to now a favorite moment in the show, or anything that has stuck with you since you started watching?
Favorite moment would have to be the moment where actually, Shay was being persuaded by Varys to essentially leave, to have a life
Oh yeah,
and
you
to
love
forget
that
about
scene.
Tyrion. I love that scene. That was like one of those tears-inducing moments that I absolutely adored. Another one that I really liked would have to be just the moment where it gives me goosebumps even thinking about it right now when Jamie handed over his sword from Valyrian steel to Brienne
Oh hell yeah,
and asked
Oathbreak,
her, yeah,
Oathkeeper.
yeah, asked her to give it a name, and she came up with a perfect name, even though he was struggling to find one. And it just
hmm
was such a beautiful moment, that I enjoy. I enjoy these moments so very much, between those characters, those unspoken, like almost feelings, between them, and
Yeah,
it's just beautiful. And
yeah. I think that's kind of where the show shines best, is those moments between characters that really mean a lot to them personally, um, sometimes that don't even really have a huge impact on the server story,
yes,
but you have these moments that redefine characters, or that really put like a footnote on what would be this character's story, and I think that's really cool.
indeed, indeed. And I also very much enjoyed that we actually learned more about the Red Priestess and the fact that she was just honest, to the king's wife, the queen, and she like essentially explained to
hmm
her that she's actually lying to these people in a way. She's turning it into a show because the minds of men are so easily swayed by a little bit of green
Right.
fire. And yeah, it was very clever. I'm glad that there is actually like a little bit of manipulation behind it, and it's not just, oh, we have a religion, this one actually works, we have magic, blah blah blah.
Yeah, no, it's
Like
it's
that.
definitely an interesting aspect of the world, right? The fact that we have seen this religion at work. Like we
Mm.
have seen it actively being a thing and um having a certain effect on the realm, but it's not used to the point of that, right? Or like saying, "Oh, well, we're the one true religion because you can see this happening or you can see that happening." It's still um it's not really like an ego thing for Melisandre. Like it's she's serving her god. She's a tool, and is willing to say that over and over again. And I find it kind of cool of that character.
Yeah, this season was definitely very eventful. Like there are so many things, like the Boltons, the freaking Reek, and like so
Hmm.
many other things, that we could discuss. But it almost feels like a side stories, that are not really all that relevant. Like I was really looking forward to the sister, of Reek, Greyjoy, that she would go and save him, and I was kind of hoping, that we would be too far gone. So I'm kind of curious, like what's gonna happen to him. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you have any predictions for season 5?
Season 5. I honestly, I am still expecting something somewhat of a time shift. I
Hmm.
expect Arya to suddenly become a grown woman. I expect the Jamie's sister. Oh, what's her name?
Cersei?
Cersei, yeah. I expect her to lose her hair at some point because I think I remember pictures of her with shorter hair. Those are like the expectations I have.
Yeah.
And I am also expecting. I honestly have no idea what they're going to do with Tyrion, and I'm very curious because I feel like he's kind
It's
of written himself to a corner.
it's interesting, right? It's interesting to like for this season to be wrapped up and not know the direction of a character. It's like, what's gonna happen with that guy?
Yeah.
It like is it good? Is it bad? Especially since we've already seen this type of thing happen so many times to different people. It's like his story could just go in completely opposite directions, and we have no fucking idea.
Yeah, this season, unlike the previous one, I actually really struggle when it comes to like giving you my expectations what's gonna happen because I feel like
Hmm.
we're kind of in a limbo, or like there are so many possible like branches, that could be explored,
Right. Yeah.
routes that could be taken. I have no idea,
Yeah.
but I'm
Well,
excited.
do you find yourself being more aligned with one faction or the other, one house or the other?
That is a good question. Like, if I were to choose a faction, who would I go for? Who would represent me the best? I think you asked me a similar question before, and I think I remember
Yeah.
answering the Lannisters.
Hmm.
And I think that at this point, I wouldn't want to be there. I feel like I would want to be as far away from them as possible.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
I would really like to be one of Daenerys's guides and to tell her to fucking tell these people to go fuck themselves because they
Yeah.
pissed me off so
A
much.
council, like a council member in or a council for Daenerys is probably a really good spot to be in right now.
Yeah. Unless,
But
of course,
yeah.
you betrayed her once at some point, and then she
Yeah.
might tell you to go away.
I mean, that's the least she could do,
Yeah,
right? Like, I will happily go away instead of having to face a dragon.
indeed, indeed. So
But
it would probably be by Daenerys' side because I feel like there is a lot of potential there. But I might also enjoy being with Jon Snow because I'm kind of curious if he's gonna be the leader of the Night Watch and
mhm.
if he's gonna perhaps even side with the Baratheons and with Stannis. I feel like he would really fit well there. And yeah,
Yeah,
those are definitely some of the angles that I would like to explore.
cool stuff. Cool stuff. Is there anything else that you'd like to talk about or cover before we wrap up?
No, no, no. I would just like to thank you for challenging some of my rants and some of my very unfair expressions here on this podcast. That's one of my favorite parts of these shows that we do together because you kind of set things into proper context for me. Even though I feel strongly about certain things, I very much enjoy your pushback because then I'm like,
Yeah,
he's onto something there.
yeah, because like there's a lot of times that I'm like, you know what? I didn't like that, but I can see why it went that way. And so I'm like, as a creator and or a consumer, sometimes I have to think about it differently. Um, And so that's why I kind of like giving you different points of views because a lot of the times I'm like, yeah, you have a good point.
And
What
you
have you
know
thought
me,
about this?
I enjoy like going too far on certain aspects of these shows.
Yeah,
One
yeah,
of my
for
favorite
sure.
things.
But John, thank you for hanging out, talking about the new season, and we will have a discussion on season 5 when I return from my cruise. Hopefully, that gives you enough time to go through it.
Oh, absolutely. You can bet.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for listening. Thank you for hanging out, and yeah, be back with us next time as we continue our discussion with Game of Thrones.
And don't forget, the winter is coming, or has it already came? I don't know, but it certainly is getting chilly out there.
It's getting kind of chilly. Have a good one, guys. Peace.
Bye.